Yeah, so we are ready to start. Hello, everyone, and I am so glad that you are joining the Mongolia session. My name is Bolra, National Director of World Vision Mongolia. Today's the Mongolia session topic is education and technology. So welcome to our session again, and let's first watch short video. Thank you.
Mobicom Corporation initiated and implemented Smart Education Project in 2021 in order to bring about changes in the education sector and to deliver equal education to every child across the country. This project has been successfully organized for the second time in 2022, as it has shown positive results on the performance of students' learning, also on the performance of personal development. It was supported by World Vision International Organization, Ministry of Education and Science, and Department of Education. Within this project, 3,220 children from groups of subsistence level participated and were given key to the digital age, the smartphones, data packages, new numbers, digital books, and provided an opportunity to use educational applications for free.
За сайн байна уу? Намайг Мөнгөн Цэцэг гэдэг. Би Сондож явын ээж. Хүн маань болохоор ер нь төрөлхийн харааны бишэлтэй. Нэгээс 5 дугаар анги хүртэл тусгай сургуультай суралцж боловсроод 6 дугаар ангиас болохоор энгийн сургууль сурч боловсрч эзэмшиж байгаа. Хүн маань болохоор 9 дугаар анги 9 настайдаа ерөнхийдөө гар утас гэдгийг хэрэглэж ашиглаж өөртөө зохих хэмжээгээр суралцж боловсрч явсан. Гар утас мэдээлэл технологиг ашигласнараа ямар давуу талтай вэ гэхээр ер нь харааны бишэлтэй хүүхдүүд маань болохоор тоглоомчгүй ерөнхийдөө дандаа мэдээллийг арьяаж яваад телевизээр авдаг байсан бол гар утас сурснараа мэдээлэл технологиг ашиглаад маш их гарц байгааг ерөнхийдөө хүн маань олж хараад өөртөө хэрэгтэй өөрийгөө хөгжүүлэх бүхэл зүйлийг ерөнхийдөө эрэлхийлж гар утаснаас хайж мэдээлэл технологиор ашиглаж хэрэгжилж ирсэн байгаа.
Намайг бас Сундожоо гэдэг. Би одоо 14 настай. 11 дугаар сургуулийн 9-ийн А ингэж сурж байгаа. Би бол ер нь бол төрөлхийн хараагүй байсан. Тэрнээс хойш одоо хэл, компьютер, гар утас яаж ашиглахыг сураад ингээд одоо суралцаа явж байгаа. Би 9-ийг эхлэхдээ ер нь бол хөгжлийн бэрхшээлтэй хүмүүсийн одоо сурал боловсруулах тэр арга байдлыг ер нь их дурдъя гэж бодсон байгаа. Яагаад гэвэл одоо хэдийн энгийн хүмүүс одоо энгийн гэж хэлэхгүй бүх хүмүүс ер нь ухаалаг утас, гар утсаараас сурж болно. Гэх мэт ер нь бол яаж одоо сурах вэ? Ямар аппликейшн ашиглах вэ? Ямар одоо тийм технологи ашиглах вэ гэдэг ер нь бол мэддэггүй байгаа. Тийм учраас хүмүүст ер нь одоо тийм гадаадаас орж ирсэн тийм их аппликейшн болон арга барилуудыг ер нь их зарлаад одоо тус болох юмсан гэж бодоод ер нь бол ихэнх үедээ дурдж битсэн баг. Эхэнд оролцохдоо би бол бариалаар өчөж байхдаа энэ бариал уншдаг хүмүүс ховор байгаа хта гэж бодоод ерөнхийдөө бол бичвэл одоо яана гэж бодоод ерөнхийдөө бол бичсэн. Бариалаар бол бичээд тавьчаад тэгээд компьютер дээр өчөж болно гэхээр англиар нь эхлээд шивсэн. Англиар шивснийгаа уншаад тэрийг Монголд орчуулад монголоор шивсэн. Би ер нь багасаа ер нь одоо хүмүүсийн хийсэн тоглоом тэр аппликейшнуудыг хараад их яаж хийгддэг юм болоо гэж их сонирхдаг байсан. Тийм учраас ер нь бол их орой одоо тэрийг одоо туршиж үзье, одоо энийг задлаж ч юм уу кодыг нь харъя гэж ихэлсэн. Тэрнээсээ хойш ер нь бол би бас тийм нэг аппликейшнууд тоглоом ч юм уу тиймэрхүү аппликейшнууд их бичмээр байна. Тийм учраас би программын хэл сурмаар байна гэж ирмэлцэлтэй болоод тэрнээсээ хойш ер нь бол аль болох зөв хаанаас чамаагүй зөвлөгөө аваад сураад эхэлсэн.
Сайн байцгаана уу, намайг Амбын технологи гэдэг ерөнхий боловсролын 148 дугаар сургуулийн SIM-ийн ангид суралцдаг. Mobicom болон дэлхийн зөнгийн хамтран зохион байгуулсан Smart Education 2 төсөл оролцсон, эсээ төрлөөр оролцсон гар утас цацсан байгаа. Ковидын үед яг онлайн хичээл ордог байх үед нэлээд хичээлээсээ хоцрогдсон байсан. Яг нөгөө хэсэг яг хямралд ороод интернет хатах юмш боломж байгаагүй. Тэгээд хичээлийг танхимаар орж эхлээд гар утас хоцсноос хойш миний сурлага нэлээд сайжирсан. Тэгээд гар утсаар өмнө нь үзэж чадаагүй хичээлүүдэд нөхөд илүү сайн гүнзгийрүүл судалж чадсан болохоор юм бол хамаагүй сайн сайжирсан байна. Ийм ч болох гэж байгаа байхгүй юу? Тэгээд яг нөгөө нэг уламжлалтын юмч. Тэгээд яг тэр талаараа нэлээд сайн судлаад англи хэл дээр яг англи хэл хим хоёр дээр тулгуур тавиад нэлээд сайн судлаа гэж бодож байгаа.
Students face lots of challenges, even if they have an effort and desire to learn during the COVID-19. Children are still trying as much as they can after the time they lost. Let's invest in educational equality by encouraging children's intellectual strength and efforts.
Yeah, so great video. I really hope that you enjoyed watching the short video about the successful project. So as we all know, last 2 years, the education for children become really emerging issue worldwide, including Mongolia too. So because of COVID, schools and educational institutions, kindergartens were closed almost for 2 years in Mongolia. Children who live in urban outskirts, in Gare area, and also the rural areas really struggled to receive the full education for 2 years through the TV and online sessions. Survey showed that over the 20% of children really struggled and left behind to receive the full education, and education gap has widened. So the video is showing excellent example implemented by Mobicom Corporation, the project, successful the project. And in last 2 years, over the 400 children really benefited from this the project. So you have seen the two examples of boy Sandojo with special needs, and also Tanklong, a girl, teenager girl, who benefited from the project. So this is the real contribution of the project to the Sustainable Development Goal number 4, which is the education. So now I would like to introduce the distinguished guest speaker, Mr. Kuroshima-san. And Kuroshima-san is CEO of Mobicom Corporation in Mongolia. He is living in Mongolia for 5 years. He has more than 20 years of experience in different business areas, such as the corporate strategy, business development, project management, marketing, and other areas too. So as a successful man, he is really accepting the challenges, tackle with the challenges and overcoming them, hoping for the better tomorrow. I would like to re-highlight again what was said in the video. The children are still trying as much as they can after the time they lost. Let's invest in education equality by encouraging Mongolian children in intellectual strength and efforts. So, Mr. Kuroshima-san, thank you so much for your willingness to share your successful project with all of us. So, floor is yours.
Okay, good morning, everybody online. Thank you for joining this event, and it's my pleasure to be part of this event hosted by World Vision. So, as introduced, my name is Koji Kuroshima. I'm a CEO of Mobicom Corporation, which is a Mongolian telco company which runs mobile, fixed internet, some TV services, and other fintech services as well. So today, I would like to just share quickly what kind of activities we have been doing together with World Vision in order to provide equality of education to the children in needs. So can you put on my presentation file, please? Okay, so let me quickly again introduce our company. Mobicom Corporation is a group company who runs business in Mongolia through mobile handset, mobile services, also fixed internet. Also, we provide some TV and VOD services, and we also provide fintech services. So we have been running this business for the last 25 years in Mongolia, and not just trying to encourage the business improvement through IT. We have been last 10 years focusing on how to try to contribute to the development of Mongolian society. So together with World Vision, we have been working on several other projects before the smart education projects, like WASH, which provides sanitary toilet to the rural areas, which has also been successful, but this has been taken over by the Mongolian government to allocate state budgets to accelerate. So during that course of the period, we were seeing that not just providing donation of the funding, but what can the IT company do in order to directly contribute to the development of the country, apart from doing business. And as Ms. Boloro was mentioning, 2019, COVID hit Mongolia, similar to all the other countries of the world. And at that time, we needed to think, what is the real benefit that Mobicom can provide to the development of the society? So can you turn to the next slide, please? And maybe you can imagine, Mongolia is a very low populated country of only 3.3 million. And but the territorial land is very big. It's surrounded by Russia and China. And of course, until today, we don't have a strong network coverage all over the country. But if you can see here, during the COVID period, as Ms. Boloro was mentioning, that all the schools were unfortunately closed. Kids cannot go to school, teachers cannot teach kids at school. So the government also needed to take an initiative to try to provide education through online. But there are several cases which the children of Mongolia was not able to get this education in a proper way. One, if you can see here on some figures, they didn't have any TV. TV actually no need more internet coverage, but there were a lot of 13.1% of the children who had no TV and could not take the online courses through the TV channels. The next one is 33% has the TV, but they could not watch. This probably has several meanings. One is that in Mongolia, there are a lot of households with multiple children, but because the classes were held simultaneously through different TV channels in different grades, it was like a channel battle among the children of the same household that some of the kids were unable to attend the class online due to the limited accessibility of the device. The third one is that they live in the area which has no infrastructure. So this is, unfortunately, maybe some part is due to IT companies' problem, but because it is very difficult to cover nationwide coverage, there were around a quarter of children who was not able to take courses because they didn't have any infrastructure. And then 11% no electricity. So of course, improving the coverage nationwide to provide data network to the children is mobile operators' duty, but we unfortunately cannot do this in one single day. But looking at some of the figures like no TV, no have TV but cannot watch, maybe it's not mentioned here, but they have infrastructure, but they don't have any other devices, then what can we do? So please turn to the next slide. So during that part, we came up with a project, Smart Education 1. So what we did was that we asked the children to submit some essays or some drawings because we cannot provide this project or program to every single children in need. So from that, we selected some heart-touching drawings, heart-touching essays together with the World Vision team to select kids 1,320, which is around roughly 25% of the applied children. So we gave them some handset. We gave them some data access free of charge for 1 year. We gave some platform which allows them to access to the VOD contents provided by the government. And also we tagged up with some startup companies to provide additional education application free of charge for the certain period. So please turn to the next slide. So these were some of the drawings that has been submitted by the children. And as you can see here, our main topic is that through COVID, what kind of difficulties they are facing, or if they have smartphone, what they can do. So through this project, as I mentioned, we selected around 1,300 children, and we physically visited the areas to try to deliver hand-to-hand. As a result, what happened was that after the survey conducted by the World Vision team, we found out, especially on mathematics and also English, there were some scores that has been improved, which also gave us a confidence that by doing these kind of activities, we can try to develop the educational level of children who has passion to study. So maybe you can turn to the next slide, please. So after this first phase of execution in 2021, we definitely had the will that we need to continue. Because only giving handset and data access to 1,300 children is not going to be enough to provide equality of education to children in needs. So we started this project phase 2 together with World Vision, but not just with World Vision. We started to invite the governmental agency, which was introduced in the previous part, the Ministry of Education and Science. Because what we thought was that just giving device is maybe they will not use properly, but we need some activity that will follow up after the distribution to encourage the kids to keep on studying and also use the mobile device in a proper way. So there, we also asked to submit essays, and 9,000 children applied, and then 2,000 children we were able to distribute handset this year, especially through April to June, just before the summer vacation. So can you turn to the next slide, please? So again, these are some essays, so I will not touch on details. But another interesting thing that through these kind of activities, what happened was that these children who is financially maybe difficult to own multiple IT devices to access to internet, was somehow encouraged to make drawings or write essays to express themselves to us, that they have passion for education, they really wanted to get access to this program. So, of course, these winners, some of them gave us feedback that by being able to win on this program, they have increased their self-confidence that by doing something practically by themselves, they can get something in return. So these kind of things, not just providing equality of education through access to internet through handset and data, but it's also giving the experience to the children that if they try, they can achieve something. So that's something on top of this SDGs activity that we are seeing that is very important for a private company like us to feel about what's happening, really, what's the reality happening in this market. So can you turn to the next slide, please? So this is maybe just one example of the photo that we took together with the winner of this program. And sorry that they're wearing masks because it's COVID situation, but I believe that there's a strong smile on their face when we are distributing these kind of devices. So we hope that we can continue this activity together with World Vision in the future, because last 2 years, unfortunately, as I say, we are only able to distribute just more than 3,000 kits, but the children in need, there's more in the market. So thank you very much for today's time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kuroshima-san. This is really inspiring us, and then to see the very successful joint project. So it's a great project about education and technology. So also we really appreciate the project brings the hope, joy, justice to the children of Mongolia, especially those who are the most vulnerable. So we hope the investment in education, one of the best investment for future. We really believe it. We believe also every child in Mongolia deserve better life, good education, and also good livelihood in the future too. So I think now we can move to the Q&A session. So I would like to ask the first question from you, Mr. Kuroshima-san. And then, we will move to the questions, I think, from the audience, and which will be posted in Q&A session. So my question is, what is the role of the technology in education in general? We see technology could be the enabler, and then also it could be the barrier too. But we really see the MobiCom project become really, bring the technology to be enabler, right? So how did the project help to break the barriers in education?
Okay, thank you for the good question. Yes, of course, we do understand there are a lot of rumors that the technology sometimes disturbs human development because it can access to any information, and sometimes the information is not proper. Of course, also they may play games and they're not focused on academy. But I think it's all a matter of fact that how the motivation of the user to the device and to the accessibility. So we see that by doing these kind of smart education like programs, that if the children gets to touch and feel these kind of IT devices and also access to the internet world at the younger ages, and they get proper education or information about how to use devices, how to use this accessibility properly, I think it just gives a positive impact to their self-development. Because, of course, we started this project because it was COVID, they cannot go to school. So we wanted to give them the opportunity to access to the educational courses provided by the government. But by having access to the whole internet world, there are a lot of other educational or self-development content that can be useful for human education, not just academic education. And during the course of our handover of these prizes to the kids, what we saw was that some of the kids wanted to be a cook. Maybe how to cook cannot be taught by school, but if they have access to internet and they can check some content which helps them to develop their cooking skill, it just gives them the additional opportunity to achieve their goal. So we think that IT has a capability to enable every children or every human being to access to any information that they desire. But the important thing is that what kind of information they access.
Thank you so much. Yes, great. Yeah, I really see technology, if we educate the children and then give them the positive attitude and then the technology really helped the children to reach their potential, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they even can be beyond our image, beyond our expectation, beyond our imagination. They can be developed to reach their full potential. So that's great. Yes, exactly. So I think while the people are thinking of their question, then my second question is, what are the potentials or opportunities of the technology in education, especially in education sector, to bridge the gap, especially in education? Yeah, other
Yes.
opportunities or potentials, I think. Yeah.
I think biggest opportunity is that when you consider IT actually has no barrier on time and also location. Of course, maybe especially in Mongolia, there is a lifestyle gap between the capital city of Ulaanbaatar and also the rural areas. And unfortunately, as I mentioned during my presentation, because of the huge landscape, unfortunately, we are not being able to provide 100% terrestrial coverage of data access to the country of Mongolia, but we are mostly trying to cover where people are civilized. In that case, by utilizing the technology, location-wise, they can avoid spend more time to focus on education rather than commuting from maybe one village to another. Because I also heard that there's a long way to travel or commute to reach school. And also, technology can bring additional advanced educational content from abroad as well. I'm not saying that the Mongolian educational quality is not good, but there's also other educational content apart from Mongolia, which can be utilized by the Mongolian people. But if there's no IT, they have limited access to these advanced educational content. But as long as they have access through the device and the infrastructure, they can try to self-develop on their own what they want to achieve. And I think that will hugely reduce the gap between the capital city and the rural discrimination, and also maybe Mongolia versus overseas other global countries' educational differences. This is what I
Yeah.
feel.
Yeah, that's true. There is a big gap we see, and then children are also given the different opportunities, and then given the equal access is so important. That even SDG is talking about no one left behind. So we really believe that any child should be left behind, and without this the good education. So let me move to the question in the chat. I mean the question, the box. There is one question: how to start creating impact as Mobicom has been doing at the moment? How does the partnering with the NGO World Vision contributes to significant goals of your work?
Okay, thank you for the question. Yes, I think it's very important. First thing is that as I introduced, Mobicom Corporation is an IT company. And of course, through IT technology or maybe the monetary funding, we can create some projects. But the important thing is that how to select the right people, how to approach the right people, and how to, I think, make this project continuity among the participants is very important, is because we're not just here to donate some device and just say that please use it. Our purpose is that we want to give the children of Mongolia who is in need the opportunity to study and self-develop. And IT company cannot check if they're self-developing because we don't have this educational background or checking mechanism. But together working with NGOs, together working with the state governmental agencies, it gives the opportunity that we can provide funding, we can provide facility, but NGOs and also the government agency can create programs which will make the follow-up to check if the children are being able to, gain benefit from these kind of programs. But originally, when we try to create this impact, I think it's important that you just don't do it one time. Of course, there's limited budget, limited human resource, so we cannot do everything in a single year. But by keep on continuing these kind of programs year by year, until it brings an awareness to the society, until it gives maybe some attention from the state government that maybe they need to allocate their own budget to execute these kind of programs, I think Mobicom has a commitment to not just make it one time, but make it continuous activity until we see that the result has been gained.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Kurushima-san. And is there any question in the question box? Any more question? Okay, let me check, some of the boxes, because sometimes, I really need to transit one box to other box, I think. Yeah, so there is one question, which is about, may I know how the project can process the repairment and maintenance of the smart devices? Yeah, because we are giving the smart devices, and then there is always the time bound, right? Use and then everything. So I think, the participant is asking, what is the idea, how to maintain or how to replace or how to, the fix, or if there is any problem. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, that's another good question. Thank you very much. So, yes, basically, through this smart education program, what we are doing is that Mobicom itself is also an official handset distributor of some of the global vendors in the world, like Apple, Samsung, and Huawei. And through the smart education program, last 2 years we have been using Samsung handset to distribute to the children. And because we are official distributors and we're not using the second-hand handset, we are using the totally brand new handsets to deliver to the children. We do have some official warranty period provided by the handset vendors. So that's why, first of all, repair and maintenance of the broken devices, we do have official procedure that can be provided to these children as well, which will give them some comfortness that throughout this warranty period, they'll have no issues. Of course, after warranty period is finished, they can come to Mobicom, and of course, we can repair their devices as well. And another part is that it's important that Mobicom also provides what we provide in our official business, because we also, as I think the question purpose is that we need to take responsibility of what we give to the children. And as I say, we don't want to just give and then you do what you do and we are finished. So that's why we take quite seriousness at that, what kind of devices we give to the children, what kind of also like data packages or what kind of content we allow the children to access through this program.
Yeah.
So I think so far it's working fine, I think.
Yeah. Thank you for your answer. Yes, it's a great, to hear that, it's also that, aspect was thought well. And let me move to another question. And the Vision Fund Regional Operations Director, Christine, is asking, is there any opportunity in Mongolia for online learning? And this is taking off in many other countries due to COVID and schools being closed.
Okay, sure. That's another good question. Yes, there's an opportunity increasing for online learning. First of all, because of this COVID, government has also started to renew some of the educational content that they have been providing online and through some international organization. And basically, they have online courses put up on their TV, on some commercial TV channels during this COVID situation. And because of COVID, a lot of physical, meetings, physical business consideration was limited. There are now a lot of startup companies who is working on this edtech related business. And also some language learning facilities started to provide online courses through Teams or through Zoom. So I think the opportunity of taking online learning is increasing. But because, as I mentioned, these children who we and together with World Vision has targeted in the smart education program has some financial difficulties or have some device limitation, we are trying to somehow select several startup companies who we have connection to provide this content for free of charge. But yes, to answer the question to Christine in direct, online learning opportunity, I think, is highly increasing in Mongolia these days.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, when after 2 years, it was closed, and then so many this efforts were made to deliver the educational sessions and lessons subjects to children, and we together really tried to bridge that the gap where the most vulnerable children who does not have access to that the education online, we could bridge that and in helping the number of the children, right? So great. And the next question, I think, the Christine is asking the follow-up question: would Mobicom be keen to work with World Vision and Vision Fund to develop online schooling at the national level? So it's more about this the online the schooling, and also I would like to a bit explain. Vision Fund is microfinance organization, and World Vision and Vision Fund is this the very close organization, and then it's almost this a sister organization. So working together to reach out most vulnerable, economically disadvantaged families in rural and then suburban areas. So the whole question is, what's your intention, or would you willing, to work for a future about online schooling?
Thank you. So yes, of course. Basically, Mobicom Group is open to any kind of discussion or potential collaboration. Of course, we do have our limited capability, and our smart education 1 and 2 is also not the completion of providing the educational equality to the vulnerable children. So first, we would like to continue the smart education program in a further larger scale in order to try to reach out more children as much as possible to give the possibility of accessibility. But of course, if there's additional collaboration opportunity which can be considered, I'm very more keen to discuss and explore the possibilities to work on this.
Yeah. Thank you for your openness and an honest answer. So any more question from audience? I don't see any other question is posted. So the using this opportunity, can I ask one of this the additional question which I thought in last few days I saw one of this the report was done by one of this the scholar, I think, researcher, Mongolian researcher who is working in university outside of Mongolia. And then he was mentioning Mongolia is ranked at the 102nd country among 140 countries overall the world uh, in terms of the competitiveness report. So it's a global competitiveness report, which is showing Mongolia is in 102nd place out of 140 countries. Because even though the very interesting figure is like our education quality is very high as the government claims, right? And then it's 88 universities among the 3 million people. So in terms of the education and in terms of numbers, it's a quite good. It shows quite good, but then it is not translated into the business or the skilled working skills, right? So I would like to ask your personal opinion, because it's not related to the joint project and the Mobicom project, but what do you think what we should do to use or to leverage that the good education, the data or quality, because school enrollment, number of the universities or vocational training centers, we have a lot, right? But then we are so low in terms of this the competitiveness overall, economic development, I would say. So what would you say, what is suggestion for NGOs or government or corporates to address that issue? Because at the end, those children who study in a primary school and then schools will be the workforce for the business, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
it's just my personal, question while, waiting for the next question. Yep.
Sure, sure. Thank you for an interesting topic. Yes. This is just my personal viewpoint, but I think the highly educated Mongolian students, of course, because they are highly educated, I think they seek for high business opportunity, which they can be more successful in their life. So sometimes maybe the industry of Mongolia may not be developed enough to absorb all these labor forces inside Mongolia. So some of them, I think, considers to seek for business opportunities abroad because the market is larger. Maybe they can earn money. They have a chance to be successful. But if the economy of Mongolia or industry of Mongolia starts developing further and they can earn more money as a business, and then economy of Mongolia starts to develop rapidly, and then it means that there's a high business opportunity that even working in Mongolia, they can be a successful business person. So I think these kind of like opportunities, not just as a labor force, but how to be successful inside Mongolia is very important. So a lot of people say that, oh, Mongolia doesn't have an industry that exports business. That's why we don't get money, foreign currency from abroad. So that's why domestic market is small. So that's why it's difficult to develop the business. But when you look at, for example, IT is basically, as I mentioned, borderless, and you basically need some brain and computing skills. So what I'm seeking is that maybe through IT we can try to have more business which has a relationship with other countries, which we can bring in IT business from abroad to Mongolia, which may be able to provide new work environment for IT people in Mongolia to make them successful in this country. So this is just my personal viewpoint. So I don't know if it's true or not, but what I think is that yes, we always say that there's a limited HR resource, but I think that maybe some of the talented people unfortunately seeks there's a more better opportunity outside of Mongolia than inside Mongolia.
Mm, mm. Thank you. It's a really interesting, to listen to your this the perspective. Yes. Um. So I'm still, checking the question box. Is there any more question? I think how much time we have now to finish? Yeah. So now there is no more questions. So it's the last 5 minutes to end the session. So is there anything you would like to add, Mr. Kurushima-san, or you really wanted to say, but I did not ask, or whatever, So it's, yeah.
Yes, yes. I think maybe some last quote I just want to say is that yes, so far last 2 years the smart education program has been somehow we think it's been successful, and we've been also maximizing our main business operation to somehow contribute to the society. But of course, we are a private company, and we also need to seek for business growth. So it's we also have limited capability how to accelerate this program. So if there's anybody attending this session or anybody who has some connection with somebody else who can maybe work together with us to even accelerate this even in a further larger scale, Mobicom Group is very open to have discussion and to collaborate in aspects, not just by funding, but also by maybe content and other aspects as well. So today, thank you very much for joining, and I really enjoyed this session.
Yeah, thank you so much for your openness and for your invitation to work together. So it's a great, and also I would like to all the participants to invite to visit the Mongolia booth, and there is several the tables of the discussion. So if you visit the Mongolia booth, that would be great, and then our staffs and people are presenting about what we are doing. So thank you so much. I think that's the end of our